You ever look up at a skyscraper going up and just wonder, how do they do that? How do they keep everyone safe way up there? Well, today, we're going to break down the official OSHA safety playbook for scaffolds. And trust me, it's not just a bunch of boring rules. It's the hidden engineering that makes the difference between a regular day at the office and a life-changing accident. Okay, I want you to just picture yourself here for a second. You're on this platform, suspended hundreds of feet in the air against the side of a building. You can feel the wind, you can see the entire city laid out like a map below you, and your focus has to be 100% on the job.
So in that moment, what's your single most important tool? Is it the hammer in your belt, the wrench in your hand, or is it the set of rules that dictated exactly how this scaffold was built, how it was inspected, and how you're supposed to use it? That's what we're digging into today, the life-saving logic baked into the regulations.
All right, so let's start with the big question. Why do these super detailed rules even exist in the first place? Well, the answer's pretty simple. The stakes are incredibly high.
I mean, look at this. 29 CFR 1926.454. It sounds like a bunch of government jargon, doesn't it? But you should really think of it as a safety manual that's been written based on past tragedies. Every single line in there is a direct response to a real danger. It's designed to stop collapses, prevent falling tools, avoid electrocutions, and fight the #1 killer on the job, falls.
And this right here, this shows you just how fast it can all go wrong. You've got a scaffold, just 18 feet up, not even that high, really. Someone temporarily removes a guardrail. A worker just loses their balance for a split second, and the result is a fatal fall. The scariest part is that this wasn't some kind of freak accident. It was a chain reaction of preventable mistakes, and it all started with one tiny shortcut.
So to stop that exact scenario from happening, OSHA figured out that safety isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. See, not everyone on a scaffold does the same job, so why would their training be the same? This is where we get the 2 tiers of safety training.
Now, what's really smart is that even though the rules cover every single person who steps on that scaffold, the training itself gets split into 2 very specific groups depending on what you're there to do.
And here's the split. It's really logical. On one side, you have the scaffold users. Their job is to learn how to spot danger, to recognize the immediate hazards, like a potential fall, something that could fall on people below, or nearby electrical lines. Then you have the other group, the scaffold erectors, dismantlers, and inspectors. Their training goes way deeper into the technical stuff. They have to know exactly how to build it, how to calculate what it can hold, and all the engineering behind it. So, simply put, one group learns to use it safely, the other learns to build it safely.
Okay, so even with those 2 different training paths, there are some core rules, some absolute non-negotiables that every single person has to know, no matter if you're building the scaffold or just working on it.
All the training is basically designed to make spotting these 3 things like second nature. First, fall hazards. You're constantly asking, are there any unprotected edges? Are these planks laid down right? Second, electrical hazards. How close are we to those power lines? And third, overloading. Is there just too much stuff, too many people, too many tools, too much material on this thing right now?
And when we talk about fall protection, the guardrail is a huge part of that. Anytime you're working 10 feet or more off the ground, protection like this is absolutely mandatory. And these guardrails aren't just slapped on there. They have to be a very specific height, 42 inches, with only a tiny 3-inch margin of error. That precision is what makes them work.
Now, let's talk about this number. 4 times. This isn't just some random number pulled out of a hat. It's one of the single most important engineering rules in the entire book. So what does it mean?
It means that every scaffold, by law, has to be strong enough to support its own weight plus 4 times the maximum weight it's ever expected to hold. That's not just a little safety buffer. It is the critical factor that prevents a complete, catastrophic collapse. It is absolutely non-negotiable.
Okay, so we've covered the rules on paper. But what does all this actually look like when you're out there on a real job site, day in and day out? Let's talk practical application.
This is so important to understand. Safety is a partnership. It's a 2-way street. The employer has their responsibilities, for sure, like having a competent person on site to do the training and making sure official inspections happen. But the employee's role is just as vital. You have to follow the rules, you have to do your own quick visual inspection before every single shift, and you have to speak up the second you see something that's not right. The whole system breaks down if one side drops the ball.
Here's a really simple one, but it's a big deal. How do you get on and off the scaffold? OSHA is super clear on this. You use a proper method, like a ladder, a set of stair towers, or a ramp. And there's one thing you absolutely, positively can never do. Climb the cross braces. They look like a ladder, but they are not. They weren't designed to hold your weight, and it's strictly prohibited.
And here's another one of those simple, easy-to-remember rules that can literally save your life. Scaffolds are made of metal. Metal conducts electricity. It's as simple as that. So the rule is you have to maintain a minimum of 10 feet of clearance from overhead power lines. It's a clear boundary that prevents a terrible accident.
You know, scaffold safety isn't just about the people working up high. It's also about protecting everyone down below. A dropped wrench can be deadly. That's why things like toe boards at the edge of the platform, debris nets, and canopies are often required. And it's exactly why hard hats are a must for everybody on the site, no exceptions.
All right, for our last section, we get to a really key idea. Safety is not a one-and-done kind of thing. You don't just learn it once and you're good forever. It's a process, something you're always reinforcing. So when does someone need to be retrained? The rules are pretty specific about this. It happens if the job site changes in a major way, if a totally new kind of scaffold is brought in, or, and this is the big one, if an employee's actions on the job show that they don't quite get the safety procedures. It's a system that's designed to catch those knowledge gaps before they turn into something much worse. Okay, let's wrap it all up with a quick rapid-fire toolbox talk. These are the absolute essentials. Inspect it before you use it every time. Use the right way to get up and down. Don't overload it. Make sure the guardrails are solid. Use fall protection anytime you're over 10 feet. Stay 10 feet away from power lines. And if you see something wrong, report it immediately. That's it. That's the core stuff that saves lives. So we've gone through the regulations, the numbers, the procedures, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to this one question, doesn't it? Where does the rule book end, and where does a real safety culture begin? Because the rules, they're just the foundation. It's the daily commitment from every single person on that site that actually turns a list of regulations into a living system that keeps people safe.